And welcome back. Time for Opinion Court. Get in touch with us as you already are on 22422, our SMS line, online at Citizen TV Kenya, at Citizen TV News. We're on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm at Ann Kiguta, Ann with an E. And we'll be talking and reading your views very shortly. I'll reintroduce my guests in studio, and joining us on phone, Abigail Mbagaya Mukolwe. She is the Vice Chair of the National Lands Commission, and she'll be joining us on phone. Professor Edward Kisiangani is our resident political analyst. Next to me is Charles Kanjama, who is a city lawyer. To my immediate left, Damson Omari, a political analyst as well, alongside Charles Kipule, also a political analyst. And you're all welcome to the program. I want to start with you, Abigail. Good evening, and I hope you can hear me clearly. What informed the Commission's move to repossess these parcels of land?
Thank you very much. You can?
Yes, I can hear you. What informed the Commission's move to repossess these parcels of land?
Thank you very much. The law, if you look at Section 14 of the NLC Act, it was very clear. It said that the Commission, upon receiving a complaint from the national government, county government, an individual, a group of people, from anybody, or even on its own motion, the Commission could review grants and dispositions on public land to determine their legality and propriety. And that was provided under Section 14 of the NLC Act. And it said that where the Commission found the title to be legal, it would direct the Chief Land Registrar to revoke the same. And where they found that a title was irregular, the Commission would regularize the same. So it was a provision provided under the law pursuant to the Constitution.
Right. I would like you to clarify the issue of the NASA co-principal Musalia Mudavadi. A section of the press today reported that titles that were under him in the Woodley area had been revoked, but in a statement that was issued by one of his spokespersons, it says, quote, Honorable Mudavadi has never owned and does not hold any title to any property in Woodley in Nairobi for it to be allegedly repossessed or revoked. And he also says that, you know, he was not afforded any hearing. What is the position in regards to any parcel of land dealing with Mudavadi?
What I'd like to say, I'd like to look at the Mudavadi issue as, let's look at the Woodley issue. Because I think maybe, I don't know how this report was taken and put out of context, but if you look at the Woodley land, we are looking at the houses within the Woodley estate. The county government of Nairobi approached the Commission with a view to looking at some of the long-term leases they had given out in that particular area, and also to revoke some of the titles that had been given out to people within the Woodley area. So the Commission proceeded, and we received a list from the county government. And we revoked some of the long-term leases because we found that the county government of Nairobi really did not give out titles. What they did, they gave out long-term leases, and the Commission was also able to look at a judgment that had been issued by Lady Justice Rawal. They'd given out long-term leases to people, and they were not really titles as such, but some people had been thinking that they had titles to the land. So it was important for the Commission to set the record straight on that, and that's what we did as a Commission.
All right. So, in respect to him, he did not have any title to property there. It is a
maybe a long-term lease to the land in the Woodley estate.
All right, and the lease still stands. Is that what you're saying?
The county government still holds the original lease, but what the county government did, they proceeded to give some long-term leases, which they were registering on top of the lease that they hold, the long-term lease they held from the national government.
Right.
So they issued some very irregular long-term leases, which we found a little bit strange, which had to be dealt with and expunged, so that people don't have a mix-up on what kind of interest they have over the Woodley land.
Right. Okay, thank you for that clarification. I'll stay on the line with us, please, even as I bring in my in-studio panel, and I'll come round with each of you. What do you think of the NLC's move? Maybe Prof, we could start with you.
Yeah. I think they should have started by doing this long time ago. Repossessing public land is something they should have done long time ago, and the timing is not right. because even when they have the correct intentions, people think probably they are targeting somebody who is politically wrong or politically correct, whichever way you are looking at it. But in terms of the legality of what they are doing, it is within their mandate to do that. And they developed cold feet after being threatened by the state. And in some cases, when their powers were usurped by the state. If you look at Article 67 of the Constitution, it says there shall be the National Land Commission, and it's supposed to manage the land on behalf of the state. But we have seen in many cases the Minister for Lands doing the job of the National Land Commission, dictating to them what to do, and threatening them occasionally until now they are playing ball. So in my opinion, maybe they are now going back to what the Constitution gives them to do. There's a lot of land which has been stolen in this country, grabbed. And it's not being grabbed by your next door vegetable vendor, It's not next door school dropout or university dropout unemployed. It's being grabbed by the political class. A lot of members of the political class are involved in this kind of thing. So I hope that they have now the muscle to do the right thing that the Constitution empowers them. But the timing is definitely wrong, and it is likely to backfire.
Charles?
I think I would say the following. One of the reasons we've had a lot of impunity in the land sector is because there is an assumption that once you grab a piece of land, it can never be reversed, because you will sell it on, it will never be reversed. There is also an assumption that once you put up a building, however badly designed, however irregular, it can never be brought down. So for me, I think it is actually positive that we are beginning to see that there are situations where land can be revoked title. There are situations where buildings can be brought down. I think it's a positive thing. Definitely there are questions that will be raised against the National Land Commission. They do have the constitutional backing in both Article 67 and 68. But then the very Section 14 of the National Land Commission Act says that where that land has subsequently been acquired by a bona fide purchaser, that is a person who has purchased in good faith for value without notice of the defect in title, then the title should not be revoked. So there is a bit of controversy as to whether the Commission should implement this provision of Section 14 of the National Land Commission Act, or whether it should proceed with the interpretation of Article 40 and 67 of the Constitution, that where land has been improperly acquired, it is irregular regardless of subsequent transactions.
Let's hear from Abigail. What is the position of the Commission where a genuine buyer purchased land that had been initially irregularly acquired?
I thank you very much. I've listened to the sentiments that have been raised by both Mr. Sengane and Mr. Kanjama. What I'd like to say is that the law actually protects a bona fide purchaser for value without notice of a defect in the title. However, who is a bona fide purchaser of a property? For example, can somebody who purchases a school claim to be a bona fide purchaser for value? Can somebody who purchases a hospital, a road reserve, a forest, claim to be an innocent purchaser? You know, a bona fide purchaser is simply an innocent purchaser. How innocent can be a purchaser of a road reserve? How innocent is a purchaser of a private primary school? So as a commission, we are doing this work of degree of grant and disposition. We are very careful to analyze the issues of innocent purchasers for value. So we found that most of the people do not claim they're innocent. People are purchasing playing grounds. Lands that have been planned as playing grounds. Lands that have been planned as cemeteries. Lands that have been planned for roads. A road reserve, railway stations, bus stops, markets. Can that be claimed to an innocent purchaser? And I'd like to tell Dr. Sangani that we started doing reviews in the year 2013. We've revoked approximately 6,200 titles today. It's something we've done all through our term. So this is not the first time we are getting this particular kind of property. Even that maybe like somebody saying, somebody put an analysis out there in the wrong context. But as a commission, we have done this over and over. Right. It's not the first time we've done this.
And so, in your opinion, the timing should not be, nobody should read anything into the timing.
There's nothing absolutely wrong. Look, there's nothing wrong with what we've done. It says that commission, we don't look, for us, you see, politics will always be there. Elections are going to come and go. Work must continue. Work must continue. And as a commissioner, I would like to say this. We are going to continue to recover more public utility lands, like my chairman said earlier, in the statement given to citizens earlier today.
All right. Let me get more opinion. Abigail, stay on the line with us, please.
Thank you.
Danson.
My take is quite different. The law, as my good friends have said, the Constitution and the statutory provisions protect what they have done. The question I'm asking and my directions is on what is the political implication of the timing that they have done this action now. Number two, when you look
what's the answer to that, in your opinion?
She'll answer that, but to me, the answer is so simple. The commission has committed suicide by the timing of what they have done today. They have done a political suicide because it will take a serious political dimension, and the commissioner has no political angle to deal with this legal question.
But what it sounds to me like she's saying is that, look, day in, day out, they have got to do their job, regardless of the electoral system. The election will come and go. They have to do what they have to do.
The question that I have, they say they have cancelled over 6,000 issues. Who has raised it? It's a very quiet job that they've been doing. But this one, it has captured attention of the national media. It is capturing the debates around here. It is already taking up political space on political rallies. The consequences of that, and it's very clear the direction it is taking, is that my good friends, my good lawyers at the commission will be put to task to explain huge chunks of money that was picked from their offices. Some of the commissioners were supposed to take a plea on ethics and anti-corruption cases. How that matter did not proceed for them to take a plea. Now what comes out, I don't think that very many Kenyans in this country
You're reading a veiled hand pushing the commission to
yes,
release
that's what I'm saying.
This time?
Most commissions in this country are not independent.
And whose hand would that be?
The problem is for the commissions to look for confidence. Right now, the commission...
No, Dunstan, don't circumvent my question. You're saying you're reading a veiled hand in this. So whose hand is that?
It is the politicians, either from NASA or Jubilee. That is the question that every Kenyan will ask. Why this time? The other week, around 3 weeks ago, I saw the Salaries and Remuneration Commission come up with what was a political statement, which they know very well. They had to take that to Parliament for approval before it is done. It was purely political. This is purely political. To me, the way I look at it, it has no value. These things will not even see the light of the day. Or the commission might be disbanded on 9th.
Charles.
Thank you, and I think we've gotten various views, but the general consensus is that the Land Commission was within its mandate in doing what they have done today. The only problem is because that out of the 6,000 titles that have been revoked since 2013 up to today, there is a prominent name which has been in the list, which is why it is in the media. And when you look at it, this information did not come as a press conference from the NLC. It is someone, a journalist who went and got the Gazette notice and said, according to this, this is the story. So, of course, it now brings the question of the balance between organizations and institutions, actually, which are constitutional bodies, functioning as independents and not being beholden to other factors, including elections, and the aspect of continuity. So, from where I sit, I think the NLC, as demonstrated, and from what the Deputy Commissioner is saying, that they've been doing this for a very long time. It is good clarification, so that Kenyans do not see that it is something that they just woke up and did today, but only that the dimension of having a prominent name amongst them is what is really projecting this issue into the public debate. It is up to them to manage the politics of the subsequent politics. But from what I see, let the commission do its work. Just like the SRC, I think I differ from with Dunstan on the issue of even the SRC, because we cannot say that since we have elections, then let us now shut all offices and then let's do elections, and the IBC becomes the only independent organization that is working, and then on 9th then we resume duty. Let government function in perpetuity as the state, and let us do elections. It is not a do or die issue. At the end of the day, the burden of proof is on the person who is accused, and is actually done a rebuttal. Then it has now become a counter rebuttal. Now it appears that it came from the county government. So if there is really a political hand, where is the leaning of this politics? It comes from, it is like friendly fire for him.
From within NASA is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I can add something else. Section 14 of the Act, and this is to support what the Vice Chair of the Commission has said, was clear that the process of reviewing these land grants for legality was to start the moment the Act came into force in May 2012, and it was to be done for 5 years. That period ended in May, and of course the National Land Commission was given the power to request Parliament for an extension, which they've done. But since their first 5 years has come to an end, they have done a lot of work, and some of that output of the work they had done, they had to deliver it the moment the decisions were ready. So I also don't think that the decision of the National Land Commission was motivated by political purposes. I think at the electoral time, everything that is done, we interpret it with our political lens. I think they are trying to do the best they can, and generally should be lauded for trying to investigate this very thorny question of irregularly acquired land. We may question some of the methodology, some of the outcome, but I think as a general thing, they are trying to implement provisions of the Constitution.
Just very briefly, before we allow Abigail to just come in with response.
You see, Charles, there is a perception which is developing very fast. The fact that only recently the NASA faction has been challenging the Jubilee administration for not implementing the Truth and Justice Reconciliation Commission. And one of the major burning issues within the Truth and that TJRC report is about land. So would this be an attempt by the National Land Commission to build a story, a discourse that, look, the government has been working since 2013, and so they had to do something like what they are doing to trigger an explanation that in fact this thing has been going on, so we are already addressing what is in the Truth and Justice and the Reconciliation Commission. The reason why I'm raising that kind of question is that the timing itself can easily raise that perception, and it is up to the Commission to rule out that by explaining to the public that we are not doing something because we are playing, we are supporting a certain political faction to pursue its agenda.
Oh,
okay,
Abigail,
that's a good point.
let's allow Abigail
talks. Just a minute.
No, let's allow because of time. Abigail, various things have been raised specific to timing, and I know you've heard it, but in addition to what Prof has said, there is I hope you are hearing us clearly, Abigail.
Very clearly.
Right. So in addition to what Professor has said in terms of the TJRC report, there are also some who opine that the Commission, as Dunstan said, did not go out publicly, to say what it is doing, because it's a veiled attempt to try and address even some of the issues that were contained in the Ndungu land report. For instance, the move that you have made regarding Karura titles, etc. Could you clarify that position? Was the Commission acting with a bit of a shy hand, given the season in which we obviously are a political one?
Actually, I'm shocked at what these people are saying. It looks like these people have not been paying attention to what the Commission has been doing. For example, when we started, we revoked the Lamu titles. We've been telling people what we've been revoking. Karura, we've been revoking piecemeal by piecemeal. So for Professor to sit here and say that it looks like we are doing another hand, for example, some of the titles we've revoked in our report, like I said, this is what for over 5 years' time, over a 5-year period. We've revoked some of the titles in the TJRC report. We have revoked some titles that are in the Ndungu report. And for your information, we've only revoked 6,200 titles. We have got hundreds and thousands of titles that still need to be looked at for revocation. The land grabbing pandemic is so serious in this country. You have no idea. So we've only done a tip of the iceberg. We have applied to Parliament for an extension of the term. They were not able to do it before they left, and we hope that the new Parliament will come and give an extension of the term to allow us to recover all these public utility lands. Of course, I want to thank Charles for being very good and pragmatic. Really, the Commission, I can tell you what he has said is very true. The analysis that was done by the Nation newspaper is a work of a journalist. I wish they had done an analysis of the entire report and given a proper picture of what the Commission has done, instead of trying to turn this into a political game. We are not playing politics. We are recovering land that is in the wrong hands for the people of Kenya. We cannot afford to play politics with land. If you are a land grabber and your land has been taken back by the Commission, just surrender peacefully. We are not playing politics at all. Of course, I'm happy with what Mr. Kanjama has said, and I'm happy that he's supporting us. You know, he appeared before us, so he knows how we do our work.
In what context did he appear before you? And, you know, help us here before we deduce something. No, in what context did he appear before you?
Is he your lawyer?
Mr. Kanjama, I'm really happy that he's supporting us. And Mr.
You must have appeared as a counsel.
Did he appear as counsel? Did he appear as counsel? Charles, how did you appear before the Commission?
Actually, I appeared before the Commission to defend a client against accusations of having acquired land irregularly. But the truth of the matter is, for several years, lawyers have been appearing before the Commission. We have had proceedings. So for us...
So it's not a matter involving yourself, it's not you.
No, it wasn't me, it was of our client. But what I'm trying to say is, for us lawyers, the same way we've appeared before Political Parties Dispute Tribunal, we've been in the court, we've also been before the National Land Commission. So it doesn't take us by surprise. We know they've been doing this, they've been putting adverts in the papers, listing the parcels they're investigating, giving people an opportunity to be heard, and really it's part of their ongoing job. But of course, if you've not paid attention to that aspect of their work, and then the first you hear about it is today, it appears to be suspicious. But I think I want to calm down Kenya. They are doing something.
Okay, Abigail, just before we wind up and I let you go, you know, there is... whereas you have talked about the so-called bona fide new owners of land that had been initially, you know, irregularly acquired, what happens to the initial land grabber? Beyond this report, is the Commission pushing for legal action to be taken against them? For instance, are you writing to the DPP, etc.?
Of course, as a Commission, we will do that. It is important that other arms of government take responsibility. For example, the land that we have recovered for any state agency or state department, the responsible state department where the land is vested must take responsibility to take physical possession of the land. They must do that. Secondly, as a Commission, we will give our report of our findings we will give a report of some of the things we've seen, the elements of fraud. We'll forward it to the DPP. But like I said, for us, we confine ourselves to our mandate. We would like the land fraud unit in the CID. We would like the DPP to take up to pick up some of the other issues that arise. Because as a Commission, they're allowed to give consequential orders, and that we have done.
All right.
Of course, I wanted to mention something about Danson Omari trying to cast aspersions on the integrity of commissioners.
Right.
The investigations that are going on are normal investigations. I think he should allow the EFCC to do their work and give their report. And he shouldn't cast aspersions on the integrity of the Commission. We are still in group and we are working.
Okay. All right. A final round of comments. Given the season, the big names that have been mentioned, and the obvious, you know, blowback that you can expect, the fight back in court, etc., with Charles, no less, appearing with some of this. Prof, what is your advice to the Commission?
I think the Commission should keep working hard. They are backed by a constitutional provision, specifically Article 67 of the Act, and of course the National Land Commission Act So the instruments that can allow it to work are there. So they must start work harder to make sure that public land that has been taken by private individuals is repossessed, and we forget about that chapter. But on the other hand, I think this situation is very critical. Even when you see, she says the reason why she's praising Kanjama, Charles, is that Charles said they are trying their best. That is a voice of a desperate commission, which is probably under siege by the executive or the political class. We have since independence not had a government that takes serious the crisis of land in this country. It is an emotive issue which needs very sober analysis and handling. But every time we start talking about it, people escape. Now big names have been robbed in. They have the political cloud. We do not know whether they will support the Land Commission to do its job. So my position is, I hope that they do their work well, but I hope the politicians also understand that when this land crisis explodes, they will also be washed away by the floods of despair that will emanate from that. So political class should allow them to work. So they are on the right track. I hope they repossess. There are so many people, so many institutions, including mine, where I work, where the land is was seen to be for that institution, but it is now under private hands. I hope they will have the muscle and the courage to repossess land that
Kenyatta University's land.
Yes, so I hope they will do that.
Okay, what legal challenges can they expect, and in your advice to them, Dunstan?
My advice to them is one, that land, there are two types of land. There is the criminal land, which is for the poor guy.
The what?
The aspect of criminality or civil nature between me and him of land. That is not what their mandate is all about. The land they have is political land, public land. That land is not an easy land. It's not one Dunstan Omari who can get public land. It is politicians who have this land. And the politicians who have acquired this land, whether in which formation, will always agree and come together. That's why I said,
and protect each other.
They will protect each other, and my good deputy commissioner, they'll find they have no office to sit. Once they have seen that the big names have started being hit, then the others are saying,
we are next.
We are next. So that's what I'm saying. Did they look at the political implication of this, what they are doing? You know very well that this country is divided into two political formations. Ocampo, when he came here, he had to balance between two opposing sides. 3-3, take them to the ICC. The reason is that people look at issues from a political question. I wish Kenyans could look at their land being recovered and accept that the commission is doing a tremendous job. To me, I really support what they are doing, because that land, our children need the playing grounds, our children need the hospitals, but the question is, will they survive the political onslaught that is going to come? And I'm appealing to very many state organs that they need now to start forming departments within them for political strategy. Their messages, when they come out, they must be aware that that message is not legal, that message is political.
Right. Charles Kanjama.
I think there are two points I would like to raise. One is that what job the National Land Commission is doing is very important for our country. They need to ensure that administratively and procedurally they insulate themselves from possibility of legal challenge, administrative challenge, political challenge. I think they have to try going forward to ensure they are even more careful, because definitely those whose titles are revoked are going to wage major war in the courts and in other forums. But I think they are to be commended for at least trying to do it. And the second thing I would like to say is that it is time for other agencies of government to support that constitutional aspiration of redressing historical land injustices without either the excess of populism, of interfering with those, for example, who are bona fide purchasers, those who have titles which they were given by the government, they had no way of knowing that they were irregular, while at the same time going for those crooks for those cowboys who are grabbing public land and who have destroyed our land administration system in this country.
I suspect your client is the bona fide category, is it? Your final word.
Yeah, I think on this issue there are three things that come here. One of them is that the NLC has found itself in uncharted territory. What they need to do is to have the strength to go through and just remain strong, because the bigger picture is that they have done and let because they have done, when you look at it, the bigger picture, the public good that has arisen out of this action, then it outweighs by far this individual political concern that we have. And for these politicians, I think what they should know is that the campaign period does not confer to them immunity against anything that may happen. If you find yourself on the wrong side of the law, then you have to carry that cross. And then finally, there is now the political implication. And this one is in two perspectives. You remember in what I expect, in 2013 when Jubilee launched its manifesto, the first one, they said on the issue of land, they are going to do through the Land Commission to repossess public land that was illegally acquired. And you see this is happening at this moment. So expect Jubilee to plant their flag and claim this as a victory for them. It will happen. And now on the reverse side again, the bigger burden is on NASA, because right now the TJRC report especially is looked as the holy grail of the land question in Kenya, and it is one of the key issues in the one of the main agenda items in the NASA manifesto. So this is a time for the NASA fraternity to come and say, do not just run away and say this is an issue. Let them just come with a clear message and say there is an issue that has arisen, and if at all there is culpability on the side of any of us, then we are going to allow the law to take its but trying to defend themselves will betray them that they are not. They are just claiming a platform of goodwill at the moment of elections, but going into as a manifesto thing, but when they are elected, they don't have the political goodwill to make sure that they deliver on issues in their campaign.
Wow. Andy, thank you all for your views. Bob, did I give you a final word? I did. Fantastic. Don't take another one. Abigail, thank you so much for joining us on phone. Abigail Mbagaya Mukolo, the Vice Chair of the National Lands Commission, was speaking to us on phone, and of course all my guests here in studio. We're taking a break. We're back with the sport after this.